Okay, Ray. Ray, this tells you that you were interviewed today,
Uh-huh.
and they keep that with your stuff. So 100 years from now, you know, the kids and everybody can find that. And it tells you're on tape number 52.
Okay.
Tape 52. So they can go down, you know, 100 years from now and check you out.
So I got this will put my footprints in the library.
Exactly, so to speak, Now, you told me a name, but tell me again for the tape, your name.
Floyd Ray Mitchell.
And what's your date of birth, Ray?
February 2nd, 47.
Okay. And where were you born?
I was born at the General Hospital.
In Portsmouth, Ohio?
Yeah, the old
Okay.
hospital there.
And your present address, give me your present address.
18015,
Okay.
State Route 73, McDermott, Ohio.
And in fact, that's where we are right now. This is your home, isn't
Yes,
it?
sir.
How long have you lived here?
I've lived here, it's been probably, 12 years,
Mm-hmm.
I'd say.
Okay.
We moved here in 95, so
Mm-hmm. Okay. What is your occupation, or are you retired, or what?
I'm a retired from the A plant. I had to take a medical retirement.
Okay. When did you retire there?
In 2002.
How much education do you have?
I have, well, I graduated from Portsmouth High School in '67, and after that I went to out at the vocational school, and I've got an
Okay.
associate degree
Okay, what is that in?
in criminology. I
Okay.
worked at the penitentiary.
Oh, did you?
Mhm.
Yeah, the penitentiary in Lucasville, SOCF. You worked there
I
for a
worked
while?
at, also worked at the walls up in Columbus.
Oh, you did?
We worked up there before they opened the penitentiary down here to get training and so forth.
What did you call it in Columbus? The walls? What?
Yeah, at well, the Ohio Penitentiary.
The old one?
Mhm, yeah.
Oh, they
Up on
demolished
Wall
that.
Street, yeah.
up on, okay. Now you're married,
Yes, sir.
and how many children do you have?
I have a boy and a girl, and then I have three stepsons.
Okay, and now the library likes for me to get a genealogy history here. What were your parents' names? What was your father's name?
My father's name was Floyd Pierce Mitchell, Floyd P. Mitchell,
Uh-huh.
and my mother's name was Eloise May Miller.
Okay, her maiden name was Miller.
And they were both from the Otway area.
Okay, all right. Now,
Which is, I always go Otway.
that way. Otway, that way. And the now your father's parents' names. You know your grandparents on your father's side.
Yes, my grandmother was a Mustard,
Mhm.
and then on my my mother's side, she was her mother's maiden name was well, she was Abraham, Charles Abraham. Her father was from Syria.
Uh-huh.
That
And his name was Abraham?
Charles Abraham.
Okay. Okay.
They met each other. Her mom and dad met each other in Huntington, West
Oh.
Virginia,
Okay.
and then they came to. He was a peddler,
I see.
and back years ago, and he more or less went from house to house and selling
Sold his
goods,
wares and things like that?
dry goods, and
I see.
so forth.
What did your grandfather do?
Both my grandfathers were tobacco farmers,
Okay.
and that's mostly the biggest their main income.
I meant your grandfather on your father's side, your father's father. He was a tobacco farmer?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. Then your grandfather on your mother's side,
They was a tobacco farmer.
and he was a peddler also.
No, my grandmother, which
Oh.
would be my great grandfather,
Yeah, okay.
he was the peddler.
Okay. That's on your mother's side.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Now, that being the case, then you, did you join or were you enlisted? Did you enlist or were you drafted is what I'm trying to say?
I joined the Air Force on a delayed, delayed,
Some delayed entry thing? Like
yeah,
that?
it's, me and a bunch of guys from Portsmouth High School, Bobby Phillips and Jack Arthurs and a bunch of us in April of '67, we all went up to Ashland and took our physicals and stuff like that. And we were all kind of inactive service until June of '67, and then we went into the Air Force. And
After you graduated, then you went in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I meant to ask you one more question here. Your wife's name, what is her name?
My wife's name is, her maiden name is Pilkington.
Say that again?
Pilkington.
Pilkington? Okay.
Pilkington.
Okay. Okay. What's her first name?
Constance.
Constance, okay. Now, you went into the Air Force in 1967, and of course that was during Vietnam, wasn't it? Where did you do your basic training?
I done it at Lockbourne, or Lackland, I'm sorry.
Lackland? Okay,
Yeah.
Lackland, and that would be in San Antonio, would it?
Mhm, yes.
And did all you guys do it in Lackland, the guys that you
Yeah.
went in with?
Yeah, and then after boot camp, we all kind of branched off, and
Oh, yeah.
some of us went to tech school, and some went to other bases, you know,
Mhm.
and then we kind of lost contact after that, you know.
How long was basic for the Air Force then?
It was 8 weeks.
So you were down in San Antonio for 8 weeks then?
Yeah, I was there at the hottest part of the year. I was there from June.
In 1967?
Mhm.
Okay. I was there in 1967, but I was in the Army then. At
Oh,
Fort
really?
Sam Houston, yeah, yeah. Did you ever go to Nuevo Laredo?
No, I never.
Did you hear about Nuevo Laredo?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
In Mexico?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, I liked San Antonio myself when I was there. I was down there for what they call officer basic, medical supply officer. But did you like San Antonio?
Well, from what I got to see of it, I got to go to the Alamo.
Did you? I went there, yeah.
And they gave us time off. Well, really, I wasn't supposed to go to the Alamo. I was restricted not to go because the tech sergeant said I had my shoelaces one over the other. One was different from the other. I don't know. So
That's bad.
It was kind of picky, you know.
That's really terrible.
He said, "You're restricted. You can't go to the Alamo." So I said, "Well, okay." And I kind of found somebody to pull guard duty for me, and I went anyway.
All right, saw the Alamo. Then, what was I going to say to you? I was going to say, I still have my, that's where I got my car insurance for my first automobile, USAA.
Mhm.
Who's your automobile insurance with? USAA?
I
I
don't-
still carry that policy.
Well, whenever I got out of boot camp, I was stationed at Lackland Air Force Base.
You were stationed there in
No,
San?
I'm sorry. Carswell. I guess her name
Carswell.
was. Carswell Air Force Base.
Where is that, Missouri?
That's in Fort Worth and Dallas, Texas.
Okay, Carswell, so you went up,
I was in a SAC unit,
okay,
Strategic Air Command,
all right, all right.
and after I spent about a year and a half there, maybe not even a year and a half, I had orders to go to. Back then it was Formosa.
Yes,
I get
oh,
these orders, and I think, where's I asked her, where's Formosa?
To get a map out and look that one up.
Yeah, and it's a little dot right outside of China,
Yeah.
and it's Taiwan.
How long were you in the Air Force?
I was in Air Force for 3 years and 8 months.
So you went in June or July of '67?
I went in June of '67, June 26th. You got
That's your 214, DD 214,
Yeah.
isn't it?
is that mine or is it?
I don't know. Floyd.
That's my dad's.
That's your dad's. Who's Vaughn?
That's my uncle.
Okay, and then yours is right there. You were in there. Okay, so you went in June of '67.
Mhm.
When did you get out?
I got out in October '70.
What was your rank when you got out?
I was just a sergeant.
E5 or?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it was a E3 or E4,
Okay.
I think back then.
Okay.
E5, I think, was staff sergeant.
Oh, okay. Did you serve any time in the reserves after you got out of active service?
Yes, I did. After in 1972 or 3, I think it was, I went into the reserves up at Lockbourne, and I went into Loadmaster, and they sent me to Wichita Falls, Texas,
Mhm.
for tech school
Mhm.
to become a Loadmaster.
Let's go back now. After you get out of basic, you go to Carswell,
Mm-hmm.
and that's up around Dallas, Fort Worth area.
Yes, sir.
And it's a SAC base. And how long were you at that post?
Well, I went there in, in the latter part of '67, and I left for Taiwan in October, the last of October of '68.
What was your MOS?
My MOS was 6035. I was a driver,
Driver of what?
but just anything that.
Vehicles, just
Yeah.
automobiles? and
But when I went to Taiwan, I went into what's called AGE, Aero Ground Equipment, which is take out all different stuff, little small jet engines to start KC-135s and stuff like that. And I also worked on refueling KC-135s and
Did they have B-52s there?
they would land every now and then, not very often, just maybe emergency landing, because at that time Chiang Shek said that if a B-52 would land, he'd try to confiscate or try to get it, Because they was always in the war with China all the time, They was,
Did they have them at Carswell? That was a SAC base, wasn't it?
Mhm.
So they must have had
Oh, they
them
had
there.
plenty of B-52s at SAC base,
Okay.
at Carswell.
Now, how long were you in Taiwan or Formosa?
I was in Taiwan 15 months. I mean, it was, couldn't ask for a better duty station. While I was in Taiwan, my brother was in Vietnam.
Really? Was he in the Air Force or the Army?
He was in the Army there.
Was he?
He was in combat engineers.
Was he?
And I tried to go see, right across the base we had the 314th, which was C-130s that went in and out of Vietnam every day,
Mhm.
And I tried to get permission to go see my brother when he was at Camp Eagle, and they wouldn't let me go because they said that they wouldn't let two, brothers at the same last name, surviving brothers in a war zone. And so
Where is he now?
He passed away in 2004. He passed away of Agent Orange.
Did he? What was his name?
Terry Glenn Mitchell.
And do you have his two?
Yes.
Here it is right here. This is his, what they call a DD-214, and he was in the Army, and he got Bronze Star,
Mhm.
2 of them it looks like.
Yeah.
And he was in the combat engineers then, wasn't he?
Right. They cleared land for helicopter pads.
1st Armored Division.
And that's where he got his Agent Orange, because they would come in there and spray that.
Spray that right over them. Wouldn't
Yeah, and he I mean, I just watched him go from good health to, you know, I'd go up for 1 week and he was be on a cane when he started out, and then he'd be on a walker, and then
Where did he live?
he lived in Columbus.
I see. Yeah. Now you were in Taiwan, and well, what did you do? What was your MOS there? Was your MOS the same?
Well, I started out as a driver,
Right,
and then
right.
I just more or less worked different positions. They could, because I was in a SAC unit. I was in the 4220th Air Refueling Squadron, and
What did you do? What I mean, you're talking about driving. Did you go up in the planes any?
oh yeah, I would pull checks on hydraulic checks on KC-135s that come in. Would check for hydraulic leaks, and we would go up and go up with the crew chiefs and stuff like that, and we would bring what's called an MA-1A out to start the engines. It's a small jet engine that it's used to start number one engine on the aircraft, and then once you get number one engine started, you could take that engine and start the other engines to get them rolling.
Okay. Did you do that? Is that part of your job too?
No, those are crew chief.
Crew chief did that?
But I just took out the equipment and stuff like that for to that, and then at one time there I was refueling, just more or less putting the fuel in the KC-135s. Then we would I drove a Uke where I back aircraft into hangars and pull them back out on the runway and stuff like that. We might have sometime the runway would be just have a little grade in it, and we'd have to hook two Ukes to just back one in or pull one out.
You say that was a pretty good duty station then?
Yes.
Were you near the capital there, Taipei, isn't it?
I was 80 miles from Taipei.
Did you go into Taipei and have liberty there?
We went up, a bunch of us went up on a tour one time, and we went to a marble factory and different places, and
What kind of marbles?
they
Round marbles?
no, they had slabs of marble as big as this room,
Okay.
and they would take sand and water and cut through these slabs. I mean, they done it the old-fashioned way. And then we would go. I was in Taiwan. I was stationed at Ching Chong Kong Air Base, which was short. We called it CCK. And then after I left, after I finished my time up there, I was very lucky because I always had good duty station. After I finished my time up there, I went to Little Rock Air Force Base in Little Rock, Arkansas, at Jacksonville, Arkansas, right outside of Little Rock. And it was right before they had phased out the B-58s. I don't know if you're familiar with the B-50. It's called the Hustler.
Okay. Now, did you travel the island of Taipei a lot? Were you able to get out and go to end to end? And
yeah, we would go to maybe in the mountains to. One time I think we went to Chiang Kai-shek's home where he lived at. And
did you ever see him?
No.
Did you get over to Japan any then?
Yeah, when we went to when we flew over, we went to we stopped in Japan, Tokyo, and I always remember this was kind of funny. It was we went to before we went to the room, we went to the bar, bunch of us guys, and we're drinking, and they bring the bill, and it's 1,800 and some. I think I only had maybe $20. I said, my God, I said, we're going to sneak out of here because I ain't got no 1,800 and some.
Right.
Kind of find out, I think it was about $4 or $5, you know, after what it
After
was.
the exchange.
Yeah.
So you've been in Japan
Mhm.
and Taiwan. Have you been to any other countries over there?
Yeah,
Did you ever get into Vietnam?
No, I never got into Vietnam. I went from, I had a bone tumor in my right shoulder, and they shipped me from Taiwan to uh, Philippines
Hmm.
for a shoulder surgery where they cut off part of my right clavicle
Hmm.
while I was in Taiwan.
How long were you in the Philippines then? You're in a hospital the most.
I was
all
in
that time.
the hospital for, I think it was right at about 2 weeks, maybe a little bit over that. But I always remember that, and I felt so bad because here I am, I got a little shoulder injury, you know, and I see these guys in body casts and,
From Vietnam?
yeah, coming in from Vietnam was, you know, I think, you know, man, yeah, I see how these guys make a lot of, but a lot of them was Koreans
Were they?
that the United States had hired to fight
Mm-hmm.
in Vietnam.
Mm.
I mean, they would be in a body cast from their head to their feet. I mean, you know,
Wow.
and at night they would they were allowed to have a beer. So I told the nurses, you know, I got a shoulder injury, you know, I said I can give you a hand. I'd go around and there was also American soldiers there, you know, they let them have a beer at night, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah,
Did you help pass out the beer?
Huh?
You helped pass out the beer?
I just hold it for them, you know,
Yeah.
and let them, you know, drink it,
Oh,
you know.
okay, yeah.
Help feed some of them, stuff like that, too, because they were short on nurseries and nurses and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we'd be in Taiwan, and they would be maybe a pretty good sized battle in Vietnam, and they would ask for blood, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you probably done the same thing. Have to,
Mm-hmm.
well, we didn't have to, we wanted to, you know.
Yeah, okay. So you liked Taiwan, you liked that base there,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
But after that, you ended up in Little Rock, Arkansas,
Correct.
or that area there. What was that like?
That was, Little Rock was a pretty good duty station. It
Uh-huh.
was, it had a great group of guys.
Was that the name of the base?
Yeah,
Little Rock Air Force Base?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's near Little Rock, of course.
Yeah.
What was the other town?
Jacksonville was,
Jacksonville is right.
It's
That's what I
the
said.
town, it's right outside of it.
Mhm. Okay. What did you do there?
Got the, I was a driver there, you know,
Mhm.
and haul maybe a general or,
All the big boys.
yeah.
Did you see anyone famous?
Well, maybe a few generals, but I can't think of their name right now. But
They thought they were famous.
yeah, yeah. I never will forget. I caught a hop one time coming back home, and we landed in Lakeview in Chicago, and we was on a C-141, and I thought there was something, you know, 'cause it's funny because they had a meal, you know, in these box meals. They give you a box meal, and I think they had steak or something like that, you know. And man, you know, here we are, you know, eating all this great food. So when the plane landed and stopped, and all of us was ready to get off, and I get up, and I'm starting to walk back there, and someone, hey, sit down, you know. What, you know? He said, better sit down, you know. I look back, I didn't even know they was on the plane. I mean, the whole back of the plane was full of admirals.
Oh, really?
And they had the red carpet out, you know. I mean, they had actually red carpet out for these admirals
Really?
to get off this plane. And I'm thinking, well, that would have been funny, me walking out there on this red carpet.
Everybody's waiting for him to come down the steps from the plane, and the red carpet's there, and the photographers are there. And down comes the airman.
Yeah.
Well, you sat down, I assume. So how long were you at Little Rock then?
I finished up I was there from, I went there, whenever I come back from overseas, I came back in January the 12th of 70. and I got out in October of '70.
Okay. That means you got out of the service at that time.
In October
Yeah.
'70.
And you came home. Did you come here? Come to Portsmouth,
Yeah,
Ohio, Sauter County?
Couldn't wait to get home, you know.
Really?
But I was fortunate because a lot of guys were stationed at maybe Wright Pat or Blockborn, and I thought,
Yeah.
that I got to see part of the world,
Did you catch up with your buddies that you had gone in the service with?
Oh yeah, matter of fact, I've got one friend that we email each other all the time. He was stationed in Taiwan with me,
Oh, yeah.
and then I ran onto I got on Classmates, and I found me and this other guy that's in California. We're trying to find this one buddy right now, and we can't find him, But he was from Utah.
How about the guys you went in, in Portsmouth? There was a group of you said that after
Yeah.
you graduated.
Jack Arthur's. Now he didn't go to basic training with me. Really, the main one that went to basic training with me when we left here was Bobby Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
And Bobby was in a car wreck right before he got out of the service in Baltimore.
Uh-huh. Did he die? Did he
Yeah, he
survive?
yeah.
Oh, he died. That's too bad. What about the Arthur's fellow? What happened with
Jack lives up in Columbus right now,
Does he? Okay.
and he'll be down. We'll be getting together in September. We're got a 40-year reunion,
Do you?
and
School reunion?
in September. Yeah.
Okay. Now he went in the Air Force too. He didn't go through basic with you.
No, he didn't go to basic with me. Yeah.
Now after you get out and you come back to Sauter County, what did you do?
First of all, like I said, I started out working for my dad, selling tires and,
Uh-huh.
and working in the shop and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever they built the new penitentiary, my brother and I both put applications in for that, and we both got hired, and we started going to Columbus for training, and then when they when they opened it, we both was hired, went to work there.
You hired in right when they opened then.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were. How long were you? How long
was
were
there
you?
before they went in inmates?
How long were you there?
I was there from '72 to '76, and then I got we went from. I went from here to North Carolina, and I got a job at Central Prison there. But at Central Prisons,
Where was that? Chillicothe?
no, I went to North Carolina. And
North Carolina.
In Raleigh, North Carolina.
Oh,
It's
okay.
called Central Prisons.
Okay.
And
How long did you live in North Carolina?
I lived there about, let's see, we went there in, well, like I said, '76, and we lived there until.
You were married at the time?
Yeah, my
Okay.
first wife, yeah.
Okay. And Central Prison in Raleigh.
Mhm.
How long were you there?
Well, actually, I was there for a month, and I'll tell you why.
A month.
After I got hired on, and they paid once a month there. And they held back, I couldn't, we was getting to where we was running out of money, and I had already taken down, when I left here, I took a pickup truck with an air compressor on the back of it, and I've been in the tire business for years, ever since I was a kid, So I started into my own tire business down there. I went in and would go out, and I'd tell my wife, I said, I'm going out and I'll make some money, today, just going out and asking people, if they need some tire work done, and I gradually went from there to having my own shop and
Really?
getting my own accounts and stuff like that.
In Raleigh?
Mhm. And then, no, this was, it was outside of Raleigh.
Oh,
We
okay.
moved it to Fuquay Varina
Mhm.
after that. And So in '80, my dad was diagnosed with cancer, and he didn't have very much longer to live. And I told my wife, I said, listen, I can go to Portsmouth, I can do the same thing I'm doing right now. And so we didn't move to Portsmouth, we moved to Hillsborough, Ohio. Because I talked with Dad, and Dad said that would be a good area to start a tire business. And I went there and I worked in tires, and my dad passed away in '83. I wanted to come back and spend what little time I had left
In the area, yeah.
with my dad.
Now then after that, did you come back down here, or did you stay in Hillsborough?
Well, I got a divorce, and after the divorce, I moved back to Portsmouth, and I started working for Dick Brush Electric.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And then I worked for him, and then at that time we was wiring the Wayne Hills Apartments.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a little bit of electrical, and so I went to, after that job closed down, I went to Columbus and kind of made my life in Columbus doing electrical work, working for different contractors. And then I went to Eastland Vocational School up there for electrical school.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went from there, and I was doing electrical work for probably eight years or something up in Columbus, and we want to come back, but every time we come back down here, it's kind of hard to go back home, Columbus,
Right.
I wasn't too crazy about Columbus anyway. So I got a job at Central Prison, Northern, it was a new penitentiary in Marion, Ohio.
North Central?
Yeah, North Central, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I got hired, the first day I got hired, and I'd already put a application in at the A plant. And so the first day I went to check in at North Central, and we was going from there to the little training area outside of Columbus there. Starts with I can't
Yeah.
think.
Obits.
Yeah.
OBETZ or something like is that right?
Yeah, it's like an academy, that they train correction officers,
Orient.
Orient, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Orient.
And so we left Marion that day and went to Orient. And at lunchtime, I called my wife and told her, I was at Orient and everything. And she said, well, you got a phone call today from the A plant, and they want to know if you want the job. Because I'd already come down here and went to the interviews.
Mm-hmm.
I said, yeah, I want the
Sure.
job. So I went in the first day I'd started work at North Central, and handed what little books they gave us, and I got to quit. He says, you're quitting? You just got hired. I said, I know it. I said, but I'll be making about $8 more on the hour, And I said, I'm moving back down where my mom lives at and stuff. And I said,
Oh, yeah, I understand that.
so we packed up and moved back to Portsmouth.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to work at the A plant, and I took a medical retirement. And if it hadn't been for the good Lord and all the prayers, I wouldn't be here right now, because I had a brain aneurysm.
Oh, my.
And I was life flighted up to Columbus and had the brain surgery the next day, and
Pulled through.
pulled through, yeah. And
Well, when did you go in the reserves? I mean, I remember you said that
yeah,
you got out
I went to the reserves in, I think it was around '73.
Yeah.
Because I went, it was the same time I was going to college at Southern Technical College, because I was in the reserves, I was working full-time and I was going to school. And at a job as a loadmaster, I mean, they want you putting in flying hours all the time. So I've been going to, up at Reckenbacker, and on the weekends, take off, we'd fly to Myrtle Beach, you know, or if a navigator needed some time in the air or some time over water, we might fly from Myrtle Beach down along the ocean to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And then some weekends we might just get in a plane and go straight to Florida and or Texas. You never know. And they wanted me flying every week.
Mm-hmm.
And loadmaster job is I don't know if you're familiar with, like, what we do is the job was a cargo plane, and certain areas on the plane could just carry so much weight, and we had to balance out that aircraft for certain areas. And then once we had it loaded, we took back then we used a slide rule, and we filled out a Form F, because if you didn't have the slide rule, it'd take you about a page and a half to the formula to get it. After we filled out the Form F for the pilot, that's what he used to set his flaps at on takeoff. And without the Form F, he couldn't take off. You know, so without the loadmaster, you don't fly.
You don't fly without that, yeah.
And we'd go up and make some practice drops and stuff. And at Wichita Falls, Texas, we learned to pack cargo chutes, and you know, I mean, it might be an area as long as my driveway out there to where take a cargo chute and hold it the right way and put it in its
How long were you in the reserves?
I was in the reserves about 2 years. And
What made you want to go in the reserves? You already had your time in.
I had a buddy of mine that was up in Columbus, and he was in the reserves, and it kind of, I don't know, I just always
Talked you
wanted, you
into
know,
it.
I liked the military, and after I got to thinking, you know, he'd tell me all this flying and, you know, all the places you get to go, and TDY, I got flight pay and TDY pay, and it was an extra income too, you know. And I was using my my military grant, you know, for my college, you know. So,
Did you still have your uniform? Could you get in it?
no, I weighed 135 when I got out.
I don't have mine either. Well, is there anything else you'd like to say, Ray? I mean, we were talking there on the phone, and you talked about your dad. He was in, what was his name? Floyd?
Floyd Mitchell, Floyd P. Mitchell.
And he and his brother started Mitchell Tires,
Yes.
Mitchell Brothers Tires, down in Portsmouth.
Him and a brother named Fred, and another one was Okie. Vaughn was his older brother,
Okay.
and he wasn't in the tire business, but I just have this DD Form 214 there.
And it looks like from your dad's DD 214, he was in the Normandy invasion on
Yeah.
D-Day.
Yeah,
And he fought in northern France and
he was in the Battle of Bastogne. He got
was he in Bastogne?
Mhm.
Uh-huh. What unit was he in?
It's up here at the top. He was in 3rd Armored Division.
Okay.
He was in Patton's.
Oh, was he?
He was a tank driver.
Tank driver with Patton.
Mhm.
George
And
Patton.
he's got 5 Bronze Stars, and it don't say there, but with 5 Bronze Stars you get 1 Silver Star, and he had a Silver Star.
Did he have a
don't-
Silver Star too? Okay. And so he served right in the middle of it, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He lived in a tank almost 2 years.
He lived in a tank.
Oh,
You're
you
not
know,
kidding,
you
are
know.
you? You actually lived in a tank. Yeah.
He said he lost 3 tanks. I said, Dad, I said, how in the world do you lose a tank? I said, without getting killed. And he said that they had they'd be hit with a sulfur bullet. They would burn right through the tank. And he said they could bail out maybe, and you know, it would destroy the tank, you know. But
They'd have time to get out.
or yeah. And he also said that he was like in a company that you had to be single. Uh, you couldn't have any, no family, nothing like that, and it was all volunteer. And he said they had these tanks that were run a certain speed, and he said they would go up, and the Germans might be lined, in the front. He said they'd go up and fire a few shots and come back and try to get the more or less bait and try to get back. And Dad said they would have their tanks lined up, and then once they come, they just some kind of a like a
Kind of
get 'em-
trap
to
them,
get 'em.
entice them to come
Yeah.
to it, Well, who is then Terry Glenn? Was that your?
That's my brother. The one
brother?
is in
He was in the army.
Vietnam at the same time I was in Taiwan.
Right.
He, I got here. Excuse me.
Go ahead.
I got. I put his name in. But in 2005, something like that, and because he died of Agent Orange, and he was on April the 17th of 2006, he was honored at the wall
Oh,
along with 86 other people.
that's the Vietnam Wall in Washington, the memorial there for Vietnam in Washington D.C.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's very
and that was 86.
humbling
And,
place to be.
like I said, I put his name in over at the.
Mm-hmm.
I put his name in at the Veterans Administration,
Mm-hmm.
and they filled out all the paperwork and everything, and
Is that right?
so many every year that they'll recognize so many people. And we went, like I said, we went to Washington D.C. and this is a book that's got all the servicemen that have died of Agent Orange, or some of them have died of friendly fire that was recognized, POWs and stuff like that. And
Is his name in there?
yeah, his
Brother? His
picture
right
and his
there.
name is in there both.
Okay.
Matter of fact, there he is.
Oh, there it is, right there, yeah. Yeah. Huh. Yeah.
And he, yeah, it was
That was a
definitely
moving,
saying
moving
my
ceremony.
brother
That was a moving ceremony.
passed away, and
You're right.
I was honored to go and read his name off, and I said a speech,
Mm-hmm.
I wrote a little speech about him, and I took his.
Did
I
he
took
have
his-
kids?
I took his son with me.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
How was
his
his
daughter's
son?
married, and she didn't get to go, but I took his son with me, and he had never been to Washington D.C. I'd been there a long time ago, but
How old was his son?
his son just turned 21 last year. So, matter of fact, he's got a birthday tomorrow.
Is that right?
You know how I remember his birthday?
How's that?
I've got two. I got a niece and a nephew, and one of them was born August the 6th. That's when they dropped the first bomb in Japan,
Yeah.
and his birthday is August the 9th. It's whenever they dropped the second bomb.
Yeah. Well, who's Floyd Mitchell then?
That's me. That was just a.
Permanent. Okay, that's orders.
That's orders going to.
Are you junior?
Taiwan.
Are you a junior?
No.
Okay.
And it's just some stuff
Floyd
I had laying around.
P.
And
Okay.
this
Now,
is orders to Taiwan, and this is my ticket coming back to the States.
That's a memento. Who's Vaughn?
That's my uncle, and he's passed away. And but I went to the courthouse to get his DD Form 214 because he don't have any kids or anybody that to put his, I put his name in the, at the World War II wall.
Memorial in.
Memorial at, I entered his name and his, what,
Where's that located?
that's Washington DC, the new.
The new World War II memorial there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you seen that?
I haven't
Oh,
seen
that-
that. I
that's
wanna go
good.
see that.
That's really something. You can go up to the, they got like a big area there that you just go up and it's got computers on the outside. And you just go in and type a name in, and it comes up, like I got my dad's, it'll come up what unit they was in, their name, what unit, and what town they were from, you know, and
Is there a
what
picture of
battles.
them, or?
No, there's no picture or nothing like that, but it just,
This is your dad's brother then, is it?
Mhm.
Ron?
Mhm.
Okay. Now, he was in, it looks like was he in World War II?
yes,
And he was in the Pacific.
right.
Okay. What was he in a,
He was
had
a
he had 3 Bronze Stars.
Yeah,
What did he do?
some kind of communications, I think.
Okay. He must have been right up close to it, though. You got 3 Bronze Stars.
And a lapel button. I don't know what is the lapel button. You know, I saw my dad's, and it's on that one too. You see it there?
Yeah. Lapel, but that must have been something that you can put on your suit jacket. I think it was, but I'm trying to think what it was. Did they call them? Did you ever hear of the ruptured duck
Yeah.
pin? That might
Oh
be
yeah,
it.
yeah, I have heard of that. Yeah.
It might be it. I think it's an eagle, and I don't know. Just your.
You know, my wife had that on a crossword puzzle here a while back, the ruptured duck pin, and that
Really?
was the lapel. Yeah.
Well, Ray, is there anything else you'd like to say or talk about? Just about covered the waterfront.
That's pretty well
Okay.
got it in a nutshell there.
Did you like the military?
Yes, I like, you know, like I said, the experience. I think every, maybe they shouldn't bring back the draft, but I would have been, whenever I got, was in, in boot camp, I called back home. Mom said, "You got your draft papers today," you know.
Oh.
And so, I just think it's a good education, and you know, for
It
the
helped
kids.
my son. My son went in the Army, and he grew up.
And it makes them more they can be on their own. You know what I mean? And
Did you have sons? Did you have any boys?
yes.
Did they go into service?
No. No.
Like I said, my boy did, and he grew up. It really helped him. It really helped him.
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
fine young man now. He is a fine man.
You know, that makes a big deal. That
Yeah.
probably, you know, learn a little bit of discipline. You know, I know. Whenever I went to boot camp, before I went in the service, I'd always tell my dad, I said, I can't wait to get out of here. You know,
Get out of what? Get out of Portsmouth?
Yeah, yeah. And that first night, first couple nights laying there in that boot camp, I said, man, I wish I was back in Portsmouth.
You never thought you'd ever wish that, did you? Yep. Okay. Ray, I appreciate your service. I always shake hands with the person I interview.
Yeah, I belong
appreciate
to
your
the
service.
DAV and
What is that? The
the
Disabled Americans. Yeah. Okay. All right. And do you belong to one of the legions down here? Any?
Yeah, I belong to 23.
Do you? Do you ever go to any of the meetings?
No, I haven't. No.
I'm in the other one up there on Russell. I don't know if I got the number of it. Up on Gallia Street.
71 or
471 or
Yeah,
71 or
471,
something like that. I've never been.
matter of
I've
fact,
been
the last class reunion we had it up there.
Oh, did you? Yeah, I think I've been to 2 meetings in years.
Yeah.
Okay.